Hello, and thank you for checking in to our ACANY and Life Plan virtual learning session for June 2nd, 2026. This is New York State ABLE Accounts, presented by Jenna McCloskey, Outreach Coordinator for the New York State ABLE Program. In this session, you'll learn how ABLE accounts can help individuals with disabilities save for qualified expenses while maintaining important benefits like SSI and Medicaid. It also reviews eligibility requirements, contribution limits, investment options, and how these accounts work in everyday situations. Common questions about managing funds, reporting, and planning for the future are also addressed. Throughout the presentation, you'll learn how New York ABLE accounts help protect benefits while saving money, who is eligible and key contribution and account limits, what expenses qualify and how to use or withdraw funds, and important rules about account management, including what happens to the account at the end of life. This presentation is intended for individuals and families, care managers, and professionals supporting people with intellectual and developmental disabilities in New York State who want a clearer understanding of the ABLE Accounts program. We hope that you find this session helpful and informative. Let's get started.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Kate. And thank you so much for coming out on your lunch hour today, everybody. It looks like we've got a really big group here today. I'm going to get my screen shared so I can pull up my PowerPoint. So as Kate said, I am the outreach coordinator for the New York ABLE program. I have been working for the program for 8 years at this point. So hopefully we'll be able to give you all of the background and information on the program and on what it takes to open an ABLE account and what you can do with your ABLE account. We'll have some updates for you for anybody that may already be somewhat familiar with ABLE accounts. And then, like Kate said, we'll have lots of time for all of your questions at the end as well. So this is our team on the screen. I'm the outreach coordinator. My colleague Grizel Davis helps me with some of the tabling events and presentations, things like that. Our director, Jeremy Rogers, is the director of the New York ABLE program and the New York 529 College Savings Program. And Mark Alessi is his supervisor, who just came on last year to help us try to expand the program and give us an even greater outreach. And that seems to be going really well so far. So the high-level overview of the New York ABLE program is New York's Achieving a Better Life Experience program, which is what New York ABLE stands for, is designed to help individuals with disabilities to save for their disability-related expenses, to earn income free from investments, earn income on investments free from taxes as long as they're used for qualified expenses. So we'll get into how you can do that. And it allows them to maintain your ability to benefit from all of the benefit programs that you rely on. So SSI, SSDI, Medicaid, HUD, SNAP, any of those benefit programs that you may be receiving are not allowed to count the money in your ABLE account as a resource against you. So that's why you're allowed to save with an ABLE account, but still maintain your benefits, which is pretty new option for people. So we'll get into, again, the background now. So typically, I'm sure most of you are very familiar. People with benefits have to adhere to lots of different standards to be able to qualify for and maintain their benefits. Usually those qualifiers include income qualifiers and asset qualifiers. So you cannot make too much money and you cannot have too much money in your own name. So SSI tends to be the most strict of all of those benefit programs. They only allow individuals to have $2,000 in their own name before their benefits get suspended. And that $2,000 asset cap was set in 1989 and has not increased since. So in 1989, $2,000 may have been enough money that you could comfortably say, okay, if somebody's able to save up that much, maybe they really don't need their benefits right now. But obviously, in 2026, that is not the case. $2,000 does not get you very far at all. So even if someone has $2,000, it does not at all mean that they don't need their benefits. So typically the options people have had available to them were special needs trusts, which can be great and are still wonderful options that you can have alongside an ABLE account. You can definitely utilize both. But sometimes special needs trusts have a large barrier to entry, so they don't necessarily always work for everybody. So some of the most common things we hear, other than that people are doing with their money to maintain their benefits, are taking out cash and hiding their cash in their house. I had somebody walk up to me at an event one time and whisper, "I have $7,000 hidden under my mattress," which of course is not a safe option. It is not something we would recommend anybody do. And then most commonly, what we hear that people are doing every month is spending down their money on things they don't want and things they don't need just because they need to maintain their benefits, which is understandable. So that's where the Federal ABLE Act came in. Federal ABLE Act became law in 2014, allowed all of the states to open their own ABLE programs, which allows individuals with disabilities to open their own ABLE accounts with any of those programs. And again, what the ABLE Act did, the thing that was so revolutionary, was that it allowed people to save money in their own name that their benefit programs were not allowed to count. So now they can save but still maintain their benefits. So New York's ABLE Act was signed into law in December 2015, and we launched in 2017. And as of last month, we had approximately 5,200 open accounts, over $71 million invested. And since we launched, New York ABLE account owners have withdrawn over $40 million for qualified expenses. So people are really using their accounts as they were intended. They're saving a lot of money for their long-term needs or emergencies, but they're also accessing their money whenever they need to as well, which is great. So who's eligible for a New York ABLE account? You need to be a U.S. citizen or a resident alien with a disability that was present before the age of 46. And that's the big change that came this year. So if you were familiar with ABLE programs previously, you originally needed to have your disability in place prior to the age of 26. And that changed January 1st of this year from 26 to 46. So that was supposed to make 6 million more Americans eligible for ABLE accounts nationwide, including over 1 million veterans. So we're really trying to get the word out about that there's a lot more people eligible than were previously, and a lot more people eligible than people realize sometimes. So that was a really great change, and we hope it opens ABLE accounts up to a whole new community of people. So when you are opening your account, you need to check one of the following boxes just to confirm that you qualify. You don't need to send us any of these proofs. We just recommend you hang on to any proofs you have of your disability so that if you are ever audited, you can give those proofs to the IRS so that they know that you did qualify for your ABLE account, but you don't need to send any of it to us. So again, you only need to meet one of these qualifiers, not all four. So if you're already entitled to SSI or SSDI due to your disability, you would qualify. If you are classified as blind, you would qualify. If you have a disability that's included on Social Security Administration's list of compassionate allowance conditions, you would qualify. Otherwise, you basically just need a diagnosis from a doctor. And again, you don't have to send that diagnosis to us. You would just hang on to it just in case you're ever audited. But as long as you meet one of those qualifications, which basically anyone that can say that they had a disability that was present prior to 46 should meet one of those qualifications. So as long as you have one of those, then you would qualify. So some things to note on this page. We talk a lot about the benefits of having an ABLE account for someone who is receiving federal benefits. Because again, the federal benefit programs cannot count the money in your ABLE account, so you're able to save money without losing your benefits. However, you don't need to be receiving benefits to have an ABLE account. So an ABLE account can really benefit anyone at any spectrum of at either end of the spectrum of disabilities. So if you are someone, or your child is someone that is severely disabled, does receive federal benefits, is not able to work, then maybe the ABLE account is just to, like I said earlier, put away their extra money instead of having to spend it down every month, so that when there is a need, they have their own savings there that they can pull from. But for someone on the complete other end of the disability spectrum, someone might have a physical disability, but they're perfectly capable of working full time and they make a really good amount of money. They can still qualify for an ABLE account. So for people like that, they may use their accounts more as an addition to their retirement or just a really great tax-free investment option. Could be a savings account just for emergencies or things like that. So as long as the person has a disability that was present prior to 46, they would qualify. They can be receiving benefits, but they don't have to be. They can be working, but they don't have to be. So it really can work no matter the situation of the individual. So eligible individuals, anytime I'm talking about eligible individuals, we're talking about the disabled individual. They can only have one ABLE account nationwide, but anyone can contribute to it. So friends, family, parents, grandparents, anybody can be putting money into that individual's ABLE account. And unlike accounts that you might be more familiar with, like a special needs trust or even a 529 college savings account, with those types of accounts, there's two people involved. There is the account owner and there is the beneficiary. So with a special needs trust, obviously the beneficiary is the disabled individual and the trustee might be parent, grandparent, sibling. They are the account owner. With a college savings account, the account owner might be the parent or grandparent or aunt or uncle, and the beneficiary is the child that will, assumingly eventually go to college. So there's two people involved. So the beneficiary is the person that the money is supposed to be spent on, but they don't actually have any control over the money. They have to go to that account owner or that trustee and request their money be taken out. With the ABLE account, the account owner and the beneficiary are the same person. So what that means is that if the disabled individual is capable of managing their own finances, then with the ABLE account, they get to have full control. They get to open the account themselves, choose how the money's invested, choose how the money's spent, not have any third party in between them and their money. So the money is still in their name. They still get to have full independence and control with their account. But because of the Federal ABLE Act, they are able to do so without that money being counted against them by any benefit programs they might be receiving. So who's actually the one to open the ABLE account? Everything on this page is a hierarchy. It's all in order of priority. So first and foremost, the eligible individual is all the way on top. So again, the disabled individual gets to open the account for themselves if they want to. They can also select whoever they'd like to manage the account on their behalf. They can say, I am perfectly capable of managing my finances, but my wife is the one that handles all of the household finances. So I'm going to select her to be my authorized individual and manage my account. That's totally fine as well. But if the eligible individual lacks the legal capacity to open the account for themselves, one can still be opened on their behalf by any of the following, again, in order of priority. So this more expanded hierarchy opens up. So power of attorney, conservator or legal guardian, spouse, parent, sibling, or grandparent of the eligible individual, or a representative payee. Any of those people can be the one opening the account on behalf of the disabled individual. But again, the reason it is all in order of priority is because there can only be one account per disabled individual. So unlike a college savings account where mom can have an account with the child as the beneficiary, dad can have an account with the same beneficiary, so can the grandparents. With the ABLE account, the disabled individual can only have one account in their name. So that's where this hierarchy comes in, is if there is more than one person that wants to open the account, wants to manage the account, then you have to come back to this hierarchy to decide who gets to. But as long as everybody is in agreement, then it doesn't matter who it is. So the representative payee is all the way at the bottom of this hierarchy list. But if everybody else is in agreement that the rep payee is the one that's going to open the account, then that's still fine. The rep payee would just check a box when they are doing the enrollment that says that there is no one above them in the hierarchy that is ready, willing, and able to open the account on behalf of that individual at this time. So the only time we will ask for any paperwork from you during enrollment is if you say that you are any of the legal designations on this page. So if you are the power of attorney, conservator or legal guardian, or the rep payee, because those are legal designations, we will need to do our due diligence, ask you to upload or send us in that paperwork, just so we can confirm that you do have the legal authority to open a financial account on behalf of that individual. But we do not ask for any further proof from spouse, parent, sibling, or grandparent. We don't ask for birth certificates or marriage certificates or anything like that. So just kind of a tip for you. If you are someone that falls under multiple categories here, say you are the parent, but you're also the power of attorney, you're also the rep payee. When you're enrolling, you can check any of those boxes that apply. It only lets you check one box, so you'd have to choose. You can choose whichever one you'd like. But if you check parent, it will just eliminate a step for you. If you check that you're the parent and you are the parent, then you don't have to send in any paperwork to prove that. Where if you choose to check power of attorney or rep payee, then we will just need to see that paperwork. So that's just a way to eliminate a step for you if you are someone in that situation. So what is a qualified disability expense? That is what you're allowed to spend the money in your ABLE account on without any taxes or penalties. So the definition given to us by the IRS is any expense that is incurred as a result of living with a disability and is intended to improve the health, independence, or quality of life of the disabled individual. So again, given to us by the IRS, the qualified disability expenses include, but are not limited to, education, health and wellness, housing, transportation, legal fees, financial management, employment training and support, assistive technology, personal support services, account oversight and monitoring, and funeral and burial expenses. So you can see it is a very expansive list, winds up including pretty much anything. We are not technically allowed to tell you beyond what is on this page if something qualifies or not. We've asked the IRS for more specifics so that we can give people more guidance of what qualifies. And they have basically said no, they want to keep everything very broad and general, like you see on this page. The good thing about that is that it basically means that as long as you are able to justify a purchase to yourself based on this definition or these examples, then if there's ever an audit, you should be able to justify that purchase to the IRS. So we just recommend, just like with a, diagnosis or an SSI letter or anything like that, we recommend that you hang on to the receipts. You can even write the justifications on the receipts and just hang on to them just in case the account owner is ever audited. Again, you don't have to ever give that proof to us. It's only if there's an audit, then the IRS will look at the ABLE account, make sure that you qualify, make sure that the purchases were for qualified purchases, just so that you don't have a tax penalty on the growth portion of any non-qualified withdrawal. Some more specifics once we get into, once you actually have an ABLE account open. You're allowed to contribute up to $20,000 per year. That is all of the contributions combined. So if friends and family are giving money into the account as well, all of those contributions combined need to stay at or under $20,000 per year. They reset January 1st of the following year. So if you've already contributed $20,000, then January 1st, you're allowed to contribute $20,000 again. If the account owner works, they need to meet certain qualifications, but if they work, they may be eligible to contribute an additional amount above that $20,000. So again, ABLE account owners don't have to work, but if they do, they might be eligible to contribute a little more. So that's just an extra added bonus there if they do work. And we offer one of the highest account balance maximums in the country amongst all of the ABLE programs. New York ABLE offers an account balance maximum of $520,000 total. So you're only allowed to contribute $20,000 per year, but over the years that can add up to $520,000 in your ABLE account total. The only exception for that is for people who are receiving SSI. This does not count for SSDI recipients or Medicaid recipients or anyone that is not receiving benefits at all. But SSI specifically says that they will count any amount in the ABLE account over $100,000 towards an individual's $2,000 resource limit. So even though New York ABLE allows you to have $520,000, SSI will count anything over $100,000 towards your resource limit. So you just want to be careful about that amount. With the $20,000 annual contribution limit and the fact that not everybody contributes the maximum every year, it would still take a long time to get to that $100,000 anyway. But we just want everybody to be aware of that, just so that we make sure that nobody's benefits are ever negatively impacted due to their ABLE account. So New York ABLE offers a number of different investment options that you can choose from when you open your account. So we offer 4 portfolios that range from conservative to aggressive options so that you can choose whatever works best for you. We also offer an FDIC insured checking option and an FDIC insured savings option. The checking option comes with a debit card, so you can quickly and easily spend the money from your checking option. You can access the funds just like you would in any other checking account. You can use your debit card. You can write a check if you order checkbooks from us. The checking option is the easiest to access the funds. But if you have money in the savings or the investment options, you can still withdraw the funds anytime. It just wouldn't be attached to the debit card. So you would have to either call and request a withdrawal or sign into the website and request one there from any of the other options. But the checking is super quick and easy. And then you can choose any combination of all 6 of those options to make up your account. So you can have some money being invested for long term. You can have some in the checking for easy access. Completely up to you to figure out what combination works best. This bar graph on the screen right now shows what the different investment options are made up of. So the aggressive is 85% stocks and 15% bonds. Then as you get more conservative, there's obviously less stocks, more bonds, more cash, making those the safer options for your money, the less risky options, until you get to the savings and the checking that, of course, are all cash. So if you are unfamiliar with investing or uncomfortable with investing, you don't know which options to choose, we recommend you ask yourself a series of questions. What do I want to save for? When am I going to need this money? How tolerant am I to risking my money in the market? The fact that if I'm using the investment options, I could lose money, as well as gain money. These questions are designed to bring you back to kind of the traditional rule that the longer you are looking to save for, the more aggressive you might be comfortable going. So if you're looking to save really long term for a house or a car or retirement, anything like that, you're looking to save really long term, then the money in the aggressive option traditionally would grow the most out of all of those options. You will have more money in the end if you put it in the aggressive option if you're saving long term. But the money in the aggressive option, in order to grow more than any of the other options, needs to be in there long enough to withstand all of the ups and downs in the market. So if you're looking to save, to spend the money on a regular basis for your monthly bills or your copays or prescriptions, that's when the aggressive option might have the most potential to lose money. So, like I said, that kind of brings you back to the rule that the longer you're looking to save for, the more comfortable you might be going aggressive. If you're looking to spend the money on a regular basis every week or every month, then you might want to go more conservative or savings or checking, or again, a combination. You can have some going in to a more aggressive option for long-term savings, some going into more conservative or checking options for easy access for paying your monthly bills. It's completely up to you, whatever works best for your situation. And you can change those options for future contributions anytime you'd like. So when you open your account, you are not going to be locked into whatever choice you make then forever. You can change those options down the line anytime you'd like. So this chart has the fees associated with the account. There is a 0.28% asset-based fee for the savings and a 0.35% asset-based fee for the checking. I'm sorry, not the checking, for the 0.28 for savings, 0.35% for investment. For the checking, there is a $2 monthly fee, but that fee is completely waived if you have an average daily balance over $250 or if you choose electronic delivery of your checking statements. So that $2 monthly fee is very easy to just get completely waived. Then no matter what option you choose, there is a quarterly program maintenance fee, which is just the fee to keep our program up and running because we're still a newer, smaller program. So that fee is every 3 months. It is $10 if you choose electronic statements or $12.50 if you choose paper statements. And that is for your entire account. It is not per option. So say you've got the electronic statements, so your quarterly fee is $10. If you choose multiple options, if you choose the checking and the savings and the aggressive investment, it's still only going to be $10 per quarter. It is not going to be $30 per quarter because you chose 3 options. So just so you know, it's not going to cost you extra money to diversify your account at all. But yeah, so those are the only fees associated with the account. There's no enrollment fee, no withdrawal fee, no overdraft fee if you've got the checking, nothing like that. Some other account options available to ABLE account owners. There is a federal tax credit called a saver's credit that can help you save for retirement. That option, there's a lot more information on our website, or even if you just Google it, there's a lot of information. It's a federal tax credit. So there's lots of information about who qualifies for it and who doesn't online. Then there's also a newer option available to people where you can roll over from a 529 college savings account to an ABLE account with no federal or state tax implications. So that's a really great option for people that have money in a college savings account that they're not utilizing. Either their child didn't go to college, or they went to college, but they still have money left over in the account, or they're still younger and not to college yet, but they want to be able to utilize those funds that they've been saving because their child has needs now. A lot of people just leave the money in their college savings account in those situations because they don't want to have the taxes and the penalties associated with a non-qualified withdrawal. Well, now a qualified withdrawal from a 529 college savings account is a rollover to an ABLE account. So if there's money left over in your college savings account, like I said, you can now roll it over with no taxes or fees, and then you can spend that money from the ABLE account also with no taxes or fees. So that's a really great option there. Allows people to utilize their college savings accounts for a lot more than originally intended. And it allows another way for people to fund their ABLE accounts if they're looking to do that. So lots of different ways that you can contribute and withdraw from the ABLE account. You can contribute just by sending us a check in the mail. You can set up payroll direct deposit. You can sign into the website and do an electronic deposit, either a one-time contribution or set it up as regular recurring contributions. Like we said, you can roll over from a 529 account or another state's ABLE account. And there's also an online gifting option called UGift. We love this option because what it does is it gives you an anonymous code associated with your ABLE account. You can share that code with whoever you'd like. Whoever has it can take that code, go onto the UGift website, type it in, and they can give you money directly into your ABLE account. So the reason this is such a nice option is because not only does it allow other people to help you out financially, give you a birthday gift without impacting your benefits, help you out on a regular basis without impacting your benefits, but it also allows you to do so while protecting your personal information. So you do not need to give out your account number. You do not need to give out your social security number. If you give out your UGIFT code or you lose your UGIFT code somewhere, you write it on a piece of paper and you drop it on a sidewalk, the only thing anyone can do with that code is give you money. They cannot access your account or anything else in any other way. So that's a really great, safe option there. To withdraw funds, super easy as well. You can withdraw using your Able debit card or writing a check if you have any money in the checking option. If you're looking to withdraw from the savings or the investments, you can call us toll free or you can sign on to the website, and you can request those withdrawals be on a one-time basis or automatic withdrawals. You can have them be electronic, so they go directly into your, some other personal account that you have, or you can just have a check that goes in the mail. And you can also set it up so that a check goes to a third party if you prefer. So if you get a bill in the mail and you want to pay that bill out of your Able account, you can give us all of the information on the bill and we can send the money directly from your Able account to pay that bill so that the money doesn't have to flow through you at all. So it's very flexible how you can set up those withdrawals. And there is a paper form on our website if you prefer to do your withdrawals that way. To enroll in New York Able is very simple. You can, again, download a paper form on our website, or you can just enroll right online on our website at mynyable.org. The information you would need is the name, date of birth, address, social security number or tax ID, and phone number of the eligible individual and the authorized individual if there is one. So if you are opening the account on behalf of someone else, you would be considered the authorized individual. So if you are doing that, then you would need all of the disabled individual's information and all of your information as well to get the account set up. Then you would check the basis of eligibility. So that's whether you have a doctor's note or you're already entitled to SSI or SSDI, whichever qualifies you. And then the category of the disability. So there's a drop-down menu there that you can choose whatever applies. Then you're going to choose your investments. So all 6 are going to be listed with boxes next to them. And in every box, you're going to check, or you're going to type what percentage of every deposit you want going into each of those options. So if you only want one option, say you only want the checking, you would just put 100% there and zeros everywhere else. But if you want to diversify your account, that's how you would do so. You would put the different percentages of what you want going into each of those options there. So, it can be split up between, 2, 3, 4, or all 6 of those options, and it can be weighted however you want. It doesn't have to be evenly distributed. And then you get your account open with as little as $25 or $15 if you choose payroll deduction. So this is all of our contact information. Our call center is open weekdays from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. at 855-5NY-ABLE. Our website, of course, is accessible 24/7 at mynyable.org. I do not have any access to the account database like the call center does. So once you open an account, if you have any questions about your specific account, you want to know your balance, you want to request a withdrawal, anything like that, if you prefer to talk to someone over the phone and not do it online, you would call the call center because I have no access to that. However, I can still answer any general questions that you have about ABLE accounts, like we will talk about today in the Q&A section in a second. So I will type my email address and phone number into the chat box once I'm done sharing my screen. So if you have any general questions, you haven't opened your account yet, and you have general questions, you can always reach out to me and I can see what I can do there. And if you know anyone else that would like a presentation like we've done today, you can always reach out to me to get that scheduled. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can see the chat box and everything again.
Thank you
And
so much,
we can
Jenna.
get into that now.
All right, let's see. I can help with that. So
Awesome.
Jean asked, is a beneficiary who has an SSDI payee rep allowed to open an ABLE account?
Um, a beneficiary, yes. So I'm a little confused about who she's asking can open the account. So the rep payee would be allowed to open the account. The beneficiary, I'm assuming she means the disabled individual. If they're capable of managing their own finances, they can open the account for themselves. So yeah, any of those people that we talked about earlier can open the account on behalf of the disabled individual. You would again just agree to who would be the one. So if the person, I mean, I'm assuming the person's not capable of managing their own finances if they have a rep payee allowed in place. Um, but if they are and they wanted to manage their own account, then they could open it for themselves. But if they're in agreement that the rep payee is the one to open the account, then yes, the rep payee can open the account. Like I said, anyone that is opening the account on behalf of someone else is going to say that there is going to have to check a box saying that there is no one above them in the hierarchy. So whether that's power of attorney, the individual themselves, a parent, a spouse, anybody else above them in the hierarchy that is ready, willing, and able to open the account at that time. So that doesn't mean that there can't be anyone else in place. It just means that those people are all in agreement that the rep payee is the one that is opening the account.
Gotcha. Thank you. Do you
Yes.
have to be over 18 to open the account? Darcy asked.
So if you're opening the account for yourself, then yes. But if you're talking about wanting to open the account for a child on their behalf, as long as you're the parent or guardian of a child, you can open it for them as long as they've got a social security number or tax ID. So say it's someone that is born with Down syndrome or some sort of disability that they know about from birth, you can open the ABLE account for them right when they're born.
Great. That's awesome. Hey, Janine asked, can the same parent open two ABLE accounts for each of her two eligible children?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So the one account rule is per disabled individual. It is not per authorized individual. So if you do have two children that both have disabilities, yes, they can each have their own accounts.
Great. Thank you. All right, Carolyn had a longer question.
Yeah.
Many individuals in our community have DAC Medicaid status as a result of losing their SSI cash benefit after transitioning to SSDI. These
Mm-hmm.
individuals have to adhere to SSI resource limits in order to maintain their DAC Medicaid status.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any written guidance as to whether these individuals also have to keep their ABLE account balance below 100K in order to maintain that DAC Medicaid status?
Um, I do not want to misadvise you on this, but as far as I am aware, SSI is the only one that will count anything over 100,000 in the ABLE account. So just because you have to adhere to the SSI resource limit, if it's actually SSDI that they're receiving, then they should be able to go over that 100,000. But I would say double check with whoever, either your benefits coordinator or whoever the actual program is. Make sure with them, just so that I don't misadvise you. But as far as I'm aware, it is only SSI that will be counting anything over 100,000.
Okay. Darcy, this is a good one. I assume you will have to report this account on the FAFSA when preparing for college and aid.
Um, as far as I'm aware, you have to report it, but because of, again, the nature of everything, I don't know if they will be counting it. But yes, it is money in that person's name, so it should be reported if anyone is asking about, what money you have and where. But if you make sure that you're specifying that it is an ABLE account, then hopefully that will not be counted.
All right. how do you use the funds? Do you provide a debit card? Is there something that needs to be done to justify the use of these funds before accessing it?
Yes, so we did talk about that, but we can talk, certainly talk about it again. If you choose the checking option, then you can have the debit card, or you can order a checkbook from us, so you can write checks as well. But again, the checkbook and the debit card will only be attached to the checking option. So if your money is in the other options, if it's in savings or if it's in investments, then you would call us, or sign into the website to request the withdrawal. And again, that can be done electronically or a check can be sent in the mail. And you do not have to justify any of that to us. You just tell us what dollar amount you want withdrawn and you get to withdraw it. We just recommend you hang on to the receipts, and familiarize yourself with what the definition and the examples of qualified disability expenses are, so that if you or your child, whoever the account owner is ever audited, you make sure that that the IRS is able to see your justification so that you don't have any tax penalty.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, where are we here? George asked, oh, Gloria, I just want to let everyone and Gloria know, yes, we are going to be sharing the presentation afterwards in a follow-up email, so keep your eye out for that.
And I did just add my email address to
Oh,
the chat if anybody needs it.
awesome, thank you. And George asked, what are the pros and cons, able versus first person special needs trust?
So first of all, they can again work really well side by side. So you can have both. One of the pros of the special needs trust is that you can put more than that $20,000 in per year. So if we are talking about a large sum of money, say there's going to be an inheritance or a settlement, something like that, you're getting $100,000 at once. You're not going to be able to put all of that into the ABLE account. So that might be a time that you would want to have a special needs trust open, so you could put $100,000 in there, and then you can roll over 20,000 per year into the ABLE account, so that the money that's in, that portion of the money, you'll have hopefully better investments, possibly lower fees, but certainly easier access to and a wider definition of what you're allowed to spend the money on, with the ABLE account. So again, they can really work nicely side by side.
Let's see. BL, do you know if the psychologist that diagnosed my autism spectrum disorder is a qualified physician? So BL, we might want to connect with you off of this call so we can get a little bit more info about that, just so we can like look into your record. So if I'm going to put the member relations email address in the chat. So if anyone has any additional questions, you guys can contact this number. But BL, this is a good contact for you. There's no age requirement. We talked about that.
Yeah.
My son is 9 years old. Can I start this early savings on his behalf via an ABLE account? Yes, you can.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's a great option, no matter the age. I mean, even really young, it's great because, you can get a nest egg started for them. And if they're going to be able to manage their own finances, manage their account when they turn 18, it can all be turned over them and to them then, and they have a nice nest egg. On the other side of things, if you are 60 years old now, but you had a disability that was present prior to 46, it might still just be a great tax-free way to to invest your money. So it can really work no matter the age of the account owner.
Can the investment options be changed after the account has been established?
Yes, investment options can be changed for future contributions anytime you'd like. And if there's already money in one option that you want in the other, you can do transfers up to 2 times per year from one option to another option you have in there.
how can I send, oh, okay, how can I send the seminar to one of my clients? So we
Mhm.
are recording this session, so it's going to be posted to our YouTube channel. You'll be able to share it freely once it is posted. Our marketing department likes to make it all beautiful beforehand. And we're going to share the presentation afterwards, so you will have the slideshow that you can pass along to your friend as well. And we have another session tonight at 6 p.m. if your friend can join later. Okay. If my child is the ABLE account beneficiary, can I withdraw funds anytime for the beneficiary's benefit? Are there any restrictions for the beneficiary or any amount limit? So I think we kind of touched on that a little.
Yeah, there's no limit on the amounts as long as the money is in there, that's fine. If the one thing you didn't specify is if you are the one that opened the account on behalf of your child. So if your child is an adult and they are managing the account themselves, then no, you are not allowed to withdraw the money anytime you want because they would be the one in control of the account. But assuming that the child is either a minor or that you have opened it on their behalf as an adult, then yes, you are absolutely able to withdraw funds anytime you want for their benefit.
Where would you withdraw by debit card, being that this is an online account?
You can use the debit card like you use any other debit card. So any store that accepts debit cards, making purchases online, you can go to an ATM as long as it's a MoneyPass ATM. There are no fees, but you can go to any ATM and accept the fees. That's fine too. And you can even go to a store again, just like you would with a different debit card, and select cash back. So if you're looking for cash, you can take cash out that way as well.
Perfect. Love that. Okay. I scroll up here. Everyone's putting those questions in. What happens to the money in the account when the individual passes?
So unfortunately, at this time, ABLE account funds are eligible for Medicaid recapture. So if they were receiving Medicaid, if they should pass away, Medicaid is allowed to recapture up to the amount that they spent on that person's care during the time that the ABLE account was opened. However, we pay out for outstanding qualified expenses first. So when we are notified of an account owner's death, we send a letter out to the family letting them know that they have 6 months to notify us of any outstanding qualified disability expenses. So that can be any of the things that qualified when they were alive. So it can be funeral and burial expenses. It can be financial management. It can be outstanding housing costs or healthcare costs. So they can give us a number, even if it is the entire account. They let us know what the outstanding qualified expenses were. We pay out for all of that first before Medicaid is allowed to touch anything, even if it depletes the account and then there's nothing for Medicaid. But if there is money left over for Medicaid, Medicaid's allowed to take back up to the amount of their claim. And if there's money left over after that, then it will just automatically roll into the individual's estate.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Okay. Jenny asked, how strict is the rule about the check payment corresponding to the date of the purchase or service?
I don't think that is too strict. I think if they're doing just a withdrawal, then obviously the purchase doesn't have to be the same date. It can be to reimburse you for a purchase that was made, or it can be a withdrawal in advance so that you could make the purchase. So I don't think it has to be a one-on-one or a one-to-one equal date. But usually I think with at least with the benefit programs, usually the rule is that it's supposed to be within the month, that you made the withdrawal, that you're spending it on something. So you shouldn't be taking out money in January and then finding a receipt in November saying, oh yeah, this can work for that, for that withdrawal. But as long as it's within a month, as far as I'm aware, that should be fine. And again, the only time any of it would come into play is if you're audited. Then the IRS looks into all of it. Just, you give them your justifications for your purchases and you're good. The worst case scenario is just a tax penalty at that point of the growth portion of a non-qualified withdrawal. But as far as I'm aware, we haven't heard of that happening to anyone so far. So it seems like the guidance is so general that everyone has been able to easily justify their purchases to the IRS.
Okay. George asked, is ABLE easier or less restrictions for the trustee or guardian to use than a first person special needs trust? And why?
As far as I'm aware, it's a lot easier. So number one, it seems to have a more expansive definition of what you're allowed to spend the money on. As far as I'm aware, the trusts, the pooled trusts, a lot of the other options available, even college savings account, a lot of the other options available to people have a lot more strict definition of what they're allowed to spend the money on. So ABLE tends to be a lot more general there. So you can justify a lot more purchases. And then of course, it's easier in the sense that there's not someone else between you and your money. So yes, you need to make a withdrawal, but there's no one else like your parent or, sibling or anybody else that you have to justify the purchase to before you're making it. So that makes the ABLE account a lot easier as well. One of the stories that always sticks with me is I was at a presentation in person several years ago, and there was a young woman, I want to say she was like 19 or 20, with Down syndrome at the presentation I was at. And she said that her brother is her trustee. And she raised her hand and just said, I don't want my brother to be able to decide how I spend my money. I don't want to have to ask my brother for access to my own money. It's my money. It's not his money. And it clicked something in me for the very unique situation of a brother-sister combination there. There might be things that she wants to purchase, like feminine products or things like that she really might not want to have to justify to her brother. So an ABLE account is a great other option for that. Even if you're budgeting the person, even if you have a lot of money in the investments and you set it up so that you have a recurring transfer of only $100 a week going into the checking option, then they're budgeted. So, they're not going to spend $10,000 at once on anything, but they're still able to have a lot more independence and be able to make some of their own decisions that they don't have to justify to someone else. So that's one of the really, really great points of the ABLE accounts.
Awesome. Simone asked if anyone had any recommendations for power of attorney in Hudson Valley. So, Simone, if you have a care manager, your care manager can absolutely help you with that. You can email our member relations department if you need to. But yeah, that's going to be the best way to zero in and find you someone that can help you out. But if anyone has any recommendations, Hudson Valley, power of attorney, you can pop it right in the chat. Okay, you mentioned people using ABLE accounts as tax-free investment for retirement or emergency use. But does the retirement or emergency have to be limited to the qualified expenses? Or if it's not considered a qualified expense, is there just a tax penalty?
That's correct on both ends. So, it would be limited to the qualified expenses, but again, the qualified expenses can be almost anything, financial management, housing. They have not given us more specific definition of what housing is. So in my opinion, if it's 20 years from now and you have a leaky roof, you don't have very secure housing if you don't have a good roof on your house. So I would be able to, for myself, justify a new roof with my ABLE account because I'd say that's under housing. Things like that. So you should be able to justify pretty much anything. But yes, if something was absolutely a non-qualified withdrawal, the only time that would come into play is if there was an audit, and if they determined that it was not qualified, then it would be a tax penalty on the growth portion of that withdrawal.
Gloria asked, is the Savers tax credit only applicable for ABLE account holders?
No, Savers credit, there's a lot of different people that are eligible for that, but ABLE account holders are one of them.
Can I leave my disabled son as a beneficiary to his brother's ABLE account, also disabled, or do the funds go to the state upon death?
So we talked about the order of operations previously, that we pay out for the outstanding qualified disability expenses first, then Medicaid is able to come in and recapture up to their claim. Then the last thing is, if there's money left over after Medicaid, it will automatically go into their estate. But if you set up what's called a successor account owner with the account, so you can go onto our website and fill out that form after you've opened the account for a successor account owner, then that would take over the estate portion. So we could still pay out for qualified disability expenses first, then Medicaid. Then if there's anything left over, it can roll into another family member's ABLE account instead of the estate.
Hmm. Okay, exactly. This is a good question. If the person moves out of state, will they keep the account or create a new one in a new state?
With New York ABLE, we are a national program. So if you move out of state, you can keep your New York ABLE account.
Oh, lovely. Okay, same question. So that was a good one. Can you pick stock in account?
With New York ABLE right now, you cannot. So you would just be choosing aggressive, intermediate, moderate, conservative, savings, or checking. We work with a census. They are our program manager, and Vanguard Funds is who they use. So between a census and Vanguard, they choose what each of those portfolios are made up of, because we were trying to make it as simple as possible for people so that they don't have to, sometimes I've opened a college savings account, and I work for the college savings program along with the ABLE program. And still, when I opened a college savings account, the number of investment options there was overwhelming. I had to Google to figure out which ones I should choose. It gets very confusing. So with ABLE, they wanted to keep it nice and simple. So it's just those 4 portfolios and savings and checking, so that it's nice and simple for you.
Carolyn had a follow-up question about Medicaid recouping the balances from folks' accounts after they pass. Is there any time limit on their right to do so?
So they do recoup their balances, but again, we keep the funds for at least 6 months so that we know that the family has had the opportunity to notify us of any qualified expenses first.
Great.
So once we have already paid out for the qualified expenses, that's when Medicaid is allowed to come in and recapture up to their claim. But again, not everybody's eligible for that. If somebody opens their account today and they pass away tomorrow, and Medicaid didn't spend anything on their care during that 24 hours, Medicaid wouldn't be eligible for a claim. If the account owner doesn't have Medicaid, they wouldn't be eligible for a claim. So it's not everybody, but I do understand that it is a lot of people.
We've got one more question if we can squeeze it in there.
Yeah.
How often are accounts audited?
So the accounts are not specifically audited by the IRS. When I say if the account owner is audited by the IRS, I'm just talking about a regular audit that everyone is always subject to. So if you are audited under any normal circumstance, then one of the things the IRS will look at is your ABLE account to double check that you qualified and that the purchases were for qualified purchases. But there's nothing special or specific where they're just auditing ABLE accounts at all.
Okay, very helpful. Lots of thank yous. Fantastic presentation. So yes, thank you so much, Jenna, for all of this information. I personally learned a ton.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, of course. Thank you to all of our attendees for joining us on your lunch hour. Keep your eye out for an email. It's going to have a link to the recording. It's going to have the presentation, all of the things. And if you want to join us again tonight, 6 p.m. is the time to be there.
I was just going to say, we've got another one tonight so you can share with your friends.
Yep. So thank you again, everyone. So happy to have you, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Have a great day. Thank you.